Sarah Chin stood at gate 47, holding her boarding pass with a calm steadiness that didn't match the chaos swirling around her. The gate agent's voice crackled through the speaker, tense and impatient, calling for final boarding as passengers squeezed forward, waving passports and carry-ons like frantic flags. But Sarah didn't rush. She didn't fidget. She didn't even blink under the suspicious glances thrown her way. Her stillness made her stand out, something she had learned long ago could be both a gift and a curse. She wore simple clothes, dark and plain. Her hair was tucked back. No jewelry, no makeup, no expression, no wasted movements. And perhaps that was exactly why the man in the gray blazer had been staring at her for the past 10 minutes as though she might suddenly detonate. Ignored him. She had become used to being misread. A lifetime ago, her silence made her deadly. Now, it simply made her misunderstood. Sarah handed her boarding pass to the agent. The woman scanned it, frowned at the screen, looked at Sarah, then leaned slightly toward her coworker. They whispered, pointed, whispered more. Too much whispering. Sarah felt that familiar tickle at the base of her spine. The same feeling she used to get moments before enemy radar locked onto her jet. Instinct, not paranoia. But she said nothing. She waited. Finally, the gate agent cleared her throat. "Ma'am, could you step aside, please?" A few passengers slowed down, eyeing her with that ugly curiosity people reserve for public humiliation. Sarah's jaw tensed. She hated scenes, hated attention. She preferred the clouds 30,000 feet above everyone, where the only language was wind and instinct. "Is there a problem?" she asked, her voice low and steady. The agent shifted. "We just have to confirm some inconsistencies." Inconsistencies. She knew that word. It was the polite version of suspicious. Behind her, someone muttered, "I told you she was acting weird." Another whispered, "Look at the way she stands, like she's hiding something." Sarah closed her eyes. For half a second, if only they knew, if only they understood what she'd spent her whole life learning to hide. Two security officers approached. The taller one spoke. "Ma'am, please follow us." Sarah exhaled once low, controlled, and stepped aside as instructed. She didn't argue, didn't push back. The crowd parted like she was contagious. Inside the small security room, they scanned her ID 3 times, checked the database twice, asked questions she had answered. "Years ago, your travel history is unusual," the officer said. "I travel for work," Sarah replied. "What kind of work?" She paused. The truth wasn't an option. "Consulting." The officers exchanged a look. "Consulting for what?" Sarah didn't answer. She didn't have to. One of them already recognized the small inked number on the inside of her wristcode. Most civilians couldn't interpret, but soldiers knew, veterans knew, anyone with access to classified service archives knew. The officer's eyes widened. Subtly. Respect, fear, recognition, all blended into one. But then the door opened, and the airline supervisor stepped in. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said stiffly, "but we're denying you boarding today. Several passengers reported suspicious behavior, and we cannot take unnecessary risks." The officer, who recognized her, snapped his head toward. "Supervisor, you're making a mist." Sarah raised a hand. "Gently, it's fine." The supervisor let out a breath of relief, as though he'd expected a fight. He wouldn't get one. Sarah simply collected her ID, her boarding pass, and her small duffel bag. Then she walked out of gate 47 with no anger, no protest, no drama. Just silence. The kind of silence that always came before a disaster. Outside the windows, Flight 982, a full Airbus, a 350 with 180 passengers, taxied toward the runway. Sarah paused. Something tugged at her chest. A whisper, a feeling. Soldiers, never UNLEARN. Trouble. She could sense it, taste it, almost hear it in the air. She knew that machine. She knew its engines, its breathing, its heartbeat. She had flown the military variant of that aircraft more times than she could count. She had trained pilots on it. She had once executed an emergency descent from 37,000 feet in less than 60 seconds on one. She knew its rhythms, its language, its soul, and she knew, with bone-deep certainty, that something was wrong. She considered going back, considered telling the gate agents they'd made a mistake. But she stopped. Herself. They wouldn't believe her. They'd just kicked her off for acting suspicious. People rarely believed the quiet ones. She walked toward the exit. She didn't turn back. But 30 minutes later, she felt the tremor in the air before anyone else did, like the ripple of a predator moving underwater. A shockwave of dread, the kind pilots feel even when the sky is calm. Her phone buzzed violently in her pocket. Unknown number. Encrypted. Code. Old channel frequency. Her breath froze. Only one network still had that access to her. And they only called when something impossible was happening. She answered. A man's voice, shaking, filled her ear. "Is this Falcon?" Her blood turned to ice. No one had used that call sign in years. The world believed Falcon had retired. Some believed she'd died. Others whispered she'd gone dark. Unreachable. Falcon.a name that once made entire strike groups sit up straighter. A name that enemy pilots feared like a ghost story. A name that had broken records and rewritten flight manuals. Sarah swallowed hard. What's happening? She said quietly. You were supposed to be on flight 982. The voice replied, We have a situation. She closed her eyes. What kind of situation? A pause. Then the answer hit like a detonation. The aircraft has suffered multiple simultaneous system failures, navigation, autopilot, hydraulics. We've lost all primary controls. Sarah's heart slammed once, painfully, in the pilot cabin. Adams has just radioed something. The man's voice cracked like he couldn't believe the words he was repeating. He requested you. Specifically, her pulse stopped. Requested me. A shaky breath. He said, We need Falcon. Sarah's world sharpened. Her instincts snapping awake. Electric and immediate. Captain Adams, a man she'd once trained, a stubborn, brilliant, relentlessly calm aviator who had sworn he'd never need help from anyone, not even her. If he had spoken her name over an open emergency channel, it meant one thing. Death was minutes away. The man on the phone gulped. We have no one on board capable of manual flight in these conditions. We don't know how long the aircraft will stay in the air. They need you. You're the only one who has flown. This failure profile before. Sarah stared at her reflection in the glass. Window.com. Silent. Unassuming. A woman no one wanted on their flight. But a pilot the sky itself respected. She turned away from the exit doors. How much time do I have? She asked. Maybe 20 minutes. Not enough, but enough to try. But enough to try. Her steps quickened, turning into a hard, determined stride. They wouldn't let me board, she said. Security flagged me. We're clearing that right now. The voice said, just get to the command terminal. Emergency access is being prepared. Sarah pushed through the crowds, moving with the precision of someone trained to run directly into danger while others ran away. People stared at her, but differently this time. Not suspicious, not judgmental. Something about the way she walked made them step aside. Instinctively, predators moved like that. Warriors moved like that. Falcon moved like that. Her phone buzzed again. Another update. The aircraft had just lost its backup electrical bus, meaning they were running out of sky. Her brain spun through options. If the hydraulics were gone, control surfaces had minimal response. If navigation was down, manual vectoring was needed. If communications were unstable, someone would have to talk the pilot through using emergency mechanical reversion. She had done this before. In war zones. In storm cells. In jet fighters that had no business staying airborne. But this was worse. One passengers, a failing aircraft. And a captain, calling her name with the finality of a man staring at the edge of the world. As she reached the restricted access stairwell, airport personnel ran toward her, waving her through. Ms. Chinweir activating an emergency uplink cockpit access. They'll hear you directly. Sarah didn't slow. I need schematics, I need real-time diagnostics, and I need a headset, she said. Now, her voice wasn't quiet anymore. It was sharp, controlled. Commanding, the voice of Falcon. The staff scrambled to obey. Sarah descended the stairs 2 at a time, her heartbeat matching the pace of the failing airplane miles above. A screen lit up before her flight status, altitude, projected descent. Not good, not survivable. Unless she did the impossible. Again, her jaw clenched. She grabbed the headset. I'm connected, she said. Patch me through. A beep, static. Then a broken, trembling voice. Falcon, is that really you? Captain Adams, still calm. But, at the edge of panic. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, just long enough to lock in. I'm here, she said, and I'm not letting you fall. Listen to me carefully. We're going to get every single soul on that plane home. A long breath crackled through the line, relief, raw and desperate. Thank God, Adams whispered. We're losing controls fast. Sarah straightened. Then listen to me like your life depends on it, she said, because it does. The room around her fell silent. Every technician, every officer, every staff member suddenly realized something. This wasn't a mystery woman anymore. This wasn't a suspicious passenger. This was Falcon. Legend, the pilot who never let a plane die. The soldier whose instincts bordered on supernatural. The ghost of the skies who had returned only for moments like this. And now, 180 lives were hanging by a The static on the headset deepened for a moment before Captain Adams's breathing came through, ragged, stressed, but trying to stay steady. Falcon, we're descending. Fast. I can't get the nose up. Controls feel dead. Sarah already anticipated that. Hydraulic loss meant the aircraft wasn't flying anymore. It was falling in a controlled shape. She steadied her voice, letting it wrap around the panicking cockpit like steel. Adams, look at me. You remember the drill from the Epsilon range training? What did I tell you the day you nearly crashed us into a canyon? A shaky laugh escaped him. You told me if I panicked again, you'd glue my hands to the throttle. Exactly, she said. So don't panic now. hands steady, eyes forward. We're doing this together. He exhaled a long, desperate breath. Okay, Falcon. Okay, I'm with you. Sarah's fingers hovered over telemetry screens as data poured in. Altitude dropping, airspeed rising, pressure equalizing, cabin holding. For now, co-pilot, she asked. Unconscious, Adams replied quietly. Hit his head when the first failure hit. I'm alone in here. Not alone, Sarah corrected. You have me. Silence. Then the tiniest whisper, as though he had believed she would never speak those words again. Falcon, I'm sorry. For everything. For pushing you out of the program. For doubting your instincts. For not the time. She cut in. You want forgiveness? Land the plane. The line steadied. The pilot in him resurfaced. Tell me what to do. First, Sarah said, I need you to understand this. You have no hydraulics. No primary flight control. You're flying a brick with wings. Great. Adams muttered. Any good news? You're still breathing, she replied, and as long as you are, we can work with the rest. She scanned the emergency flight profile. It was a nightmare, multiple failures she'd only seen in simulation, except she had survived them, because she broke the rules, improvised. Trusted instincts others called reckless. She leaned closer to the mic. Adams, listen carefully. You're going into alternate law. That means we're going to fly this entire aircraft using throttle differential and maybe a little mechanical trim, if any. Of it still responds. Do you want me to steer with the engines? Yes, that's insane. Good thing insanity is my specialty. She heard him chuckle, one small breath of humanity in the storm. Good, he needed that. All right, Falcon, he said. I'm ready. Set your left engine to 52%. She instructed, right to 49%. That'll stop your roll. The cockpit rustled as he adjusted controls. Roll stabilized, he said, surprised. Barely. Barely is still alive. She answered. Alive is enough. On the ground, technicians and security personnel watched her in silence. At least a dozen people stood around her now, but the room felt like a cockpit, tight, focused, breathless. Sarah pointed toward a screen. What's the nearest runway, large enough for emergency heavy landing? A young technician clicked rapidly. Runway 14 at Bayford Military Air Base length, 13,100 feet. Good, Sarah said. We're using it. But it's 40 miles away, the technician stammered, and the plane's losing altitude. Sarah didn't blink. Then we teach it how to glide. She turned back to the mic. Adams, I'm diverting you. You're heading to base. Adjust your heading 2 degrees to the left. Use the throttles gently. She heard the engine strain over the radio. The aircraft responded sluggishly, like a wounded animal fighting to stay upright. Falcon, we're still descending. How fast? 1,000 feet per minute. Too fast. Too steep. Not survivable long term. But she refused to let fear win. We're going to fix that. Increase both throttles to 60%. Give me lift. Don't overdo it. Copy. The engines roared through the line. Altitude stabilized. Barely. Sarah's heartbeat eased by 1 millimeter. Then a new voice cut into the feed. A trembling flight attendant. Falcon, this is Maria. Cabin crew. Passengers are panicking. Some can't breathe. We need something. Anything. Sarah softened her tone instantly for them. Maria, listen to me. You're the strength in that cabin right now. Passengers will match your calm. So you need to be the calmest person in the sky. Can you do that for me? A sniffle, a breath. Yes, good. Tell them. A very experienced pilot is guiding you. No details, no panic. And secure anything that can move. Hard landing is likely. A hitch in Maria's breath. Are we going to? We're going to make it, Sarah said firmly. I don't lose people. Not today. When the line clicked off, the technician beside her whispered, You really believe that? Sarah didn't look up. I have to. The airplane icon on the radar jerked. Adams, she said suddenly, your left engine's shaking. What's happening? Vibration warning. It's running hot. Not good. Not good at all. If one engine failed, they were done. How much thrust can she hold? She asked. Maybe 30% before overheating. Sarah inhaled. Steady. Focused. Certain. Then we'll land with uneven power. Falcon, that'll spin us. Only if you let fear fly the plane. Silence. Then, understood. Minutes passed. The ground approached. 2. Fast. 2. Hard. Sarah's pulse synchronized with the aircraft's descent. Every second counted. Adams, she said, prepare for manual gear drop. He groaned. The backup crank? That'll take forever. You want wheels or flames? She shot back. He didn't argue. Metal clanked loudly as he began the slow, agonizing manual release. 1 wheel, 2, and finally, gear down. Falcon, we have wheels. Good, she replied. Now aim them at the biggest piece of concrete you see. The airbase tower patched in. Falcon, is that really get out of my channel? She snapped. Clear the runway and prepare emergency cruise. Yes, ma'am. Then her screen flashed red. Stall warning. Airspeed dropping. Too low to recover traditionally. Adam's voice cracked. Falcon, we're sinking. I can't keep the nose up. Sarah's fists clenched. You will not let that aircraft stall. Not with 180 souls behind you. Fight it. I'm trying. She poured every ounce of strength into her voice. Adams, listen to me. You were the best student I ever had. You are capable of more than you believe. Trust your instincts. Trust me. Set right engine to 72%, left to 34%. Use asymmetric thrust to lift your right wing and angle your body into shallow glide. Now, he didn't hesitate. He trusted her. Throttles roared unevenly. The plane jerked, tilted but stabilized. Falcon, it's working. Of course, it's working, she muttered. I taught you. The runway appeared ahead like a thin silver miracle. Final approach, she whispered. Falcon Adams whispered back. I'm scared. She closed her eyes briefly, imagining his trembling hands on the yoke, the sweat, the fear, the responsibility crushing him. So she gave him the only truth that mattered. Fear means you still care, she said, and caring is how you land this plane. Now, steady your hands. Eyes forward. Bring them home. The engines whined as he aligned with the runway. Throttle 240, 38. Good holder. Now idle, idle. Flare metal screamed. Rubber burned. Passengers shrieked. The plane slammed the ground. Hard. Then bounced. Once, twice. Keep her straight. She barked. I'm trying. Don't try. Do it. The aircraft veered left. Countered with right throttle. It veered right, he corrected. Again, sparks flew from the belly, tore away, but the plane stayed upright. Momentum. Dropped. Speed. Dropped. Noise. Dropped. Until finally they stopped. Not gracefully, not smoothly, but alive. 180 people. Alive. The radio was silent. Utterly, completely silent. Then a scream. Joy, disbelief, gratitude from someone in the cockpit. Adam's voice broke through, shaking, crying, laughing, all at once. Falcon, we did it. Sarah exhaled a slow, shuddering breath she'd been holding for 20 minutes. You did it, she corrected softly. No, he replied. You saved us. You saved all of us. She said nothing. Heroes shouldn't answer back. Minutes later, as emergency crews swarmed the runway, the door opened and passengers stumbled, out crying, hugging, collapsing onto the ground. They thought they'd never touch again. News, cameras gathered. Reporters shouted. Everyone demanded answers. Who saved the plane? Who is Falcon? Is she military? Where is she now? But Sarah Chin wasn't there. She was already walking out of the control center, slipping through a back corridor, avoiding attention, avoiding praise, avoiding the spectacle. Just like always, at the airport entrance, someone called after her breathlessly. Ma'am, the captain wants to speak to you. Sarah didn't stop. Tell him, she said quietly. He doesn't need Falco anymore. He never did. The officer stared, confused. Then, what do we call you? Sarah paused, looking out at the horizon, where the runway shimmered under sunset light. Just a woman trying to get home, she said softly. She walked away. No applause. No recognition. No spotlight. But somewhere behind her, 180 families were hugging a little tighter because of her. Sometimes the sky remembers its heroes, even when the world does not. And Falcon the legend, they kicked off a plane for looking suspicious, had once again proven why the sky itself obeyed her.